welcome back to Bridging the Badge. This is now our 6th episode. Today's topic is going to be on veteran services, veteran affairs. I'm Officer Kelly with the Community Outreach Unit. Myself, I'm a retired vet myself with the United States Army. I hope you guys caught our intro there, where we featured pictures of past veterans, and service members, and police officers, and civilians that actually served in the military with us. To include our police chief, Chief Story, who had served with the United States Marines. Las Cruces is home to many veterans, as we're surrounded by a few very important military bases like White Sands Missile Range, Fort Bliss, and Holloman Air Force Base. It's not strange that police officers who all constantly come in contact with veterans throughout our community. Again, being home to so many veterans, even active duty members. A lot of times we're faced with situations and answer calls such as welfare checks, homelessness, personnel just seeking some veteran assistance, educational needs, medical, counseling, and also vets that are in crisis at the time. So I thought that's key that we do an episode on veterans services, because this is who we contact as police officers. Our guest, who I'm going to introduce here in a second. Starting with my left, or to my right, I have Deborah Callahan. Yeah, a therapist and a director for the Veterans Center.
Las Cruces Vet Center.
Okay. And then next to her, from New Mexico State University, I have Mr. Sanchez, who's the director of all military programs, veteran programs at NMSU. And next to him is Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones is a community outreach specialist with veteran services as well.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and these are the experts. I brought them on board to just have a discussion what their agencies offer within the VA services here in Las Cruces. So start with you, Deborah, if you'd like to talk about what you do.
Okay, I'm the director for the Las Cruces Vet Center. I'm also an independent licensed social worker. So I provide mental health counseling for individuals. We do couples, we do families. At times it's necessary that we meet with the children as well, because they've been impacted by the veteran services. You know, it's a family business when somebody is involved in working with the military, and everybody is affected at certain levels and degrees. We're actually located over by Los Campos on Commerce Drive, which is just down the street from Sam's warehouse there. So.
Mr. Sanchez, you want to talk about how you help vets at the university?
Yes, my name is Hector Sanchez, Director of Military and Veteran Programs at NMSU. And our office, first of all, is located in Corbett Center. I say it's the most important building at NMSU because that's where all the food is. We're on the 2nd floor. We're on room 244. You can, if we don't answer all your questions on my office can, you can go on net and go to MVP, like most valuable player, .nmsu.edu, and you can find us on the web. Our email address is also mvp@nmsu.edu. So what do we do? Well, there's really a large variety of things that we do. We do 3 major things. The first thing is we are a financial aid for our students. We administer one of the largest scholarship programs in the United States, the GI Bill. The GI Bill is a way that servicemen, both active and separated, to get their education. It's the way I received my education at NMSU. I served in the United States Air Force at a Holloman Air Force Base. And when I got out, I had no education. And the education I had was through the tuition assistance program. So I got onto the GI Bill, went to the community college there, got my associates, then came to the main campus and pursued my bachelor's degree. Well, at NMSU at the time, and this was late 1990s, there was no office. The only thing that there was a person in financial aid that would help us process their educational benefits. And if I ran into another veteran, it was by sheer luck. Well, our office was established in 2010 to meet the needs of our veterans, to have a place where they can go and know that they'll meet like-minded individuals like themselves. And the office, as I mentioned, processes educational benefits, which is a complex endeavor for many of our veterans and military, where we help them process their educational forms. So that's one component that we do. The other component that we do, and it's important, is a programming. We do a lot of programming in the sense of events at NMSU. We do banquets that honor our staff and faculty. We have a large staff and faculty population that are veterans. We do picnics. We do what we call our Military Veterans Appreciation Week, which is in the month of November, that really highlights our veterans and the military on our campus. We celebrate that because we are in a community of veterans. And as mentioned, we have 3 major Air Force bases. So those are the programming that we do. And lastly, and I think the most important thing that we do in our office is we offer advocacy. A veteran can come to our office, and if they're having issues with housing, if they're having issues with food, if they're having issues in the classroom, many times they want to come to us to talk with another veteran, seeing what we can do. Many times we cannot solve their problem, but we can at least be an inter-between mediary with that department to help them. We also have expanded academic advocacy so that our veterans, when they come to NMSU, can use some of their military training that they got for credit. This will allow them to complete their education a lot faster and better. Advocacy also comes in the sense of priority registration. Our veterans are allowed to register and get first dibs on classes. This is very important because the average age of a veteran at NMSU is 31 years old. They're married normally, have kids, working multiple jobs. So we want to provide them with the ability to get a class that they can go and get registered on. And so those are the 3 things that we do. They're important. We have over 700 veterans that use our services. And what's going on now is we're now helping the dependent. There are many programs now that are open to dependents. In fact, when I started at NMSU, we were about 10 to 20% of our students were dependents receiving benefits. Now, it's 40%. There are 2 programs that are taking the bulk of that. The first is the transfer of entitlement, that a retiring veteran or close to retiring veteran who's not going to go back to school has the ability to transfer that entitlement to their dependent. Well, we help that with that services. Second, if a veteran or a military member becomes totally disabled, they're also able to transfer or give some of their benefits to their dependents and their spouses. Again, very important, because this is many times, this is benefits that they earned that they now can transfer over to their beneficiaries. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that we do in our office. We're proud we have about 3 staff members, including myself, that are dedicated to all 3 endeavors. One more endeavor that I definitely want to point out with our office is we also offer a mentorship program that we administer through our office. So if a veteran comes the first year, we make sure that we try to walk them through all the things that they're going to need to know about being in the college life. You know, where they need to go register. If they're having issues with their academic counselor, are they having issues with housing? Are they having issues with food? These are very important things that, yes, they're provided in other ways by the university, but sometimes veterans want to come to our office to help them. They want to be associated with us, and we try to help them in those other ways. So I'm proud of what we do. I think we can. We're very supported by the university, obviously dedicating an office for what we do, and it's a very it gives me pride that now I, as a veteran, are now helping other veterans that went through the same things that I went through, to give them now an opportunity to get their education. Because for me, there's nothing that anybody will ever give me that could have helped me in my life more than my education and getting it through the GI Bill.
If I can follow up with you real quick, Mr. Sanchez. Now, if someone walked into your facility, do they have to make an appointment, or can they be seen?
No, we will take anyone. They can come in if they want to make an appointment because they're going to be at a job, or if they're going to be in class, they can definitely do that. But most of the times we get walk-ins, and usually we're able to do with staff to meet their needs. The other thing they can do is we can set up a Zoom conference call if they want to do it over video. Also, they can call us, and many of our veterans like email, and so that you can email us as the email I mentioned, mvp@nmsu.edu. So we will work with them in any way, whether they want to make an appointment, whether they just want to walk in, whether they just want to make a phone call, whether they want to email us. We're open in any way that we can to help them.
Okay, and you mentioned events that you do too. We talked offline. You have a big one coming up tomorrow.
Yes,
About that one?
definitely. Tomorrow we have our picnic event that commemorates the Bataan Death March. The Bataan Death March obviously happened this past weekend. We usually have it during that weekend. The only thing, it was spring break last week, so we wanted to make sure that our students were able to attend. So we're having it this week, and we commemorate that with a picnic, but we also commemorate that of bringing other services that are provided to our veterans as well to this event, so they can help and also network. It's going to be tomorrow behind Garcia Annex, or the Garcia, it's actually been called different. They changed the name of that building, but it's Garcia. And it's going to be from 11 in the morning to 1 o'clock. And so we're going to have food, we're going to have drinks, we're going to have dessert, we're going to have music, we're going to have games, but most importantly, we're going to have the community come, because one thing I want to point out with this event, all of our events, they're open to anyone. You do not have to be a veteran. You do not have to be a dependent. If you want to be part of it all with a veteran community, you can come out and be part of that event.
That's awesome. I think we have several officers too in our section that participated in the Death March weekend, on Death March. So
Yes.
you had mentioned food, so they'll
Yes,
likely.
they may need some of that
Be there.
food.
And it's tomorrow, you
So
said?
it's going to be, yes, tomorrow, Wednesday, March 20th, again from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay, awesome. And the Garcia Annex is?
Garcia Annex is situated in the center of the university next to Corbett, where we're from, which is the biggest, I want to say, other than maybe Pan Am, one of the largest buildings. And it's where the student union is. It's where a lot of the student services are, particularly ours, and it's right next door to Garcia.
Okay. And before I get to you, Mr. Jones, I did want to follow up with Deborah on one thing, because I visited your facility, and it's different as far as the setup. I wonder if you can elaborate on your lounge area. When someone comes in, it's like Ms. Jones described, it's not necessarily a waiting area.
No,
But-
it's definitely not
Yeah.
a waiting area.
That's the first thing I noticed.
It's someplace where people can actually just come in and have a seat and grab a cup of coffee and a bottle of water, or if they're just dropping in to find out information about the VA or some benefit that they're looking for, they can walk right in. If they need additional information as far as what community resources are or where the VA is located, we're one of those good resources that they can come and find whatever information they're looking for. Recently, and Sam may talk about this more, but we've had an opportunity to distribute iPads to veterans that had been designated. And so we've had people come in and inquire about that. And so our lobby is definitely open just for someone to drop in, or if you need a break from getting out of the heat, it's there, definitely.
Awesome. You said iPads, huh?
iPads, yes.
Right.
But
There's a new one?
No.
there's a criteria, so
Yeah.
you have to be actually service connected, but that's something that we could talk further about for anybody who's inquiring. Seeking that kind of item.
Okay. Mr. Jones, you're up.
Yes, how you doing? My name is Sam Jones. I work for the Department of Veteran Affairs, Las Cruces Vet Center in Las Cruces, New Mexico, at 1120 Commerce Suite B. And I'm an outreach specialist. I also served in the military, and I'm a combat veteran. And I have the opportunity to serve as outreach specialist. And I drive around. If you ever notice, I'm riding around in a local mobile vet center. And it's approximately 32 feet long. And my job is to educate the community about the VA and the benefits they're entitled to. So, and I take care of, my job is responsible for 13 counties in southern New Mexico, where they educate the community and the veteran community about what benefits they're entitled to and where they can get resources from. So when a veteran comes to my office and he's trying to find out about boat rehab, he's trying to find out about healthcare, I refer him out to a local community with the VA clinic or boat rehab office, or to the benefit office up on Grigg Street, where they can help them process their claim. But a lot of the problems the veterans are running into is they don't know how to get resources. So as an outreach specialist, my job is to provide them with adequate resources and information of where to get their claim started, how to enroll in the healthcare, how to get their spouses benefits, how to get their children benefit. So by that saying, it's a broad job. And I noticed in the community, I cannot do my job without support of the community. And when I say without support of the community, the American Legion, VFW, and the New Mexico's Texas State Office, they help a lot when it comes to veterans and they claim. So, and if you ever see that mobile unit around, it's me, and I'm either going to a major event or I'm leaving an event. So my job is to put that vehicle in the community, let people know that I'm there to serve them, the veterans and their family, and provide information they needed. So I take care of, like I said, 13 counties, and I do all major events. And I also put on major events. Like I got an event coming up April the 8th at the American Legion about the PAC Act. A lot of people have questions about the PAC Act. They don't understand what the PAC Act is. The PAC Act is brought on by Congress, passed laws that veterans that weren't entitled to certain benefits are now eligible to get those benefits. And it also extended the healthcare benefits. So that means you may not have been enrolled, you may not have been enrolled 10 years ago, but now you can because of the PAC Act. So I would like all the veterans in the community and the families to come out April the 8th at American Legion. We'll have a big seminar for the PAC Act so you'll learn more information about what's going on in the community and about the VA.
Yeah, that's important. I just heard about that myself, so I need to look into that myself. About
Yes.
the PAC Act. That's kind of huge right now.
It is very
Very
good.
around.
And we had a one prior to that. We had it at Civic Center in Las Cruces, and it grossed maybe about 120 veterans showed up.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and my job is to make sure that they get the information and the resource they need. so they can find out what they're entitled to within the VA.
One of the things that we do at the Las Cruces Vet Center is that we're a readjustment.
Yes.
And so there's nothing more disjointed as to leave the military, because you've been there for anywhere from 2 years to 4 years to 20 years, and you come out into the civilian world, and it's nothing like being on a military base or being connected to the military. And the readjustment component, that's where we actually got started back in the 70s, when they started implementing these readjustment facilities, the vet centers, because veterans were leaving the military and they were not getting the information that they needed in order to make the connections that Sam was talking about, or to go into the education and know what their benefits are. And sometimes their command, or when they're out crossing, they say, oh yeah, you'll take care of that when you get discharged. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know what they're eligible for. And so we do make that connection. We fill in that bridge so that we can get you enrolled in the VA, so that you can actually start getting your medical care. We look at what you can get from your educational opportunities, or if there's a training that you actually want to learn something about, so that you can actually build a business or start a job in that direction. And the other piece, the huge, is that counseling component. I can't make that adjustment back into society because it's changed. If you extract yourself out of out of the civilian world for that amount of time and then try to reintegrate, things have changed, rules have changed. Yeah. What you had learned within the military are not the same rules that apply in the civilian world. And so that's our big component. That's what actually launched us, is to make that bridge between active duty and the civilian world.
So we are receiving a question that may relate to that as far as transition. And the question is, someone chimed in with, how does Las Cruces have skilled bridge programs for active duty soldiers transitioning out? Can you explain or elaborate on that one?
Well, once you're separated, that's when we are most effective. That's when it's real key to find us. And we're all across the country. So if you're looking for a vet center, or if you're saying, I don't know what to do, you go to any of the entities that actually work with veterans and ask if they know of a vet center that's close by. We can make that connection. We not only do that for individuals who are separating, but those who are getting ready to leave. Sometimes they know that they have some mental health issues, or they don't feel that they fit in anymore. And before they're even separated, we have the National Guard and the reserves. We actually have some contract workers from the not White Sands, but Holloman Air Force, or active duty military, who come and say, this is what my issue is. I need to be relocating, but I don't know what the resources are. And we dig up those resources. They say, well, I'm not staying here in Las Cruces. I'm moving to someplace else in the country. And we can connect them to a vet center there that can connect them to the resources that are important to them.
Yes, like Ms. Deborah reiterated, every vet center across the nation has a web page. So all they have to do is Google in your location, and it will, or you go to va.gov, it would take you to the nearest facility, vet center and medical facility. And a lot of veterans don't understand, veterans, you don't have to be enrolled in the VA healthcare to walk into the vet center. You can just come into the vet center and you have no connection with the VA healthcare center.
Right. And for mental health services, if you're actually saying, you know what, I need to see a counselor, I need to talk to somebody. Our records are separate from your medical records. So you are not going to have your medical record put into your VA system. Our record system is separate. So we hold the highest condition for confidentiality. And it's really important for people who have security clearances or who are working in sensitive jobs,
yes,
that they have that protection. And we cannot release any information unless you're actually aware of it.
In terms of education, our office was totally created to help the bridge the gap there between coming from military active duty to on campus, to have resources there available for our students. I would like to point out that there are many other institutions that also have what they call a Veterans Resource Center. You do not, like in our case, you do not have to be a student. So if you just want basic information on how to apply, how to get services in terms of education, you can walk into particularly any of the major universities. You can definitely come into NMSU, and we will walk you through the process. We don't expect you to be a student at NMSU by no means. And in fact, I've helped other students to apply at other universities. We don't care where veteran goes. At the end of the day, we want the best for the veteran and what they're doing. So we have that built into our program of military and veteran programming.
That's awesome and helpful. Got a lot of stuff that, and we've already talked offline, and I haven't heard you mention that. I didn't know about that till now myself. We are getting another question. Let's see, is there a way to donate veteran centers or veteran programs? Donate to veteran centers or veteran programs?
Well, I like to, when it comes to donation, we will tell the community that they can donate, but they'll make the payment or the check or whatever to the vet center, and we have to put it in our account.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot take cash. And we don't like, and usually when they see me in the community, they want to donate, I tell them that I refer them to the local VFW or the American Legion that can take donations from the vet or the community as a whole.
Do you receive goods as well, or just?
No, if you receive goods, I refer to veterans or their family, they want to give a donation. I always send them to Community of Hope, because Community of Hope have places to store furniture and food that people donate, and they will take them items and give them to veterans in the homeless shelters and the veterans that live in the homeless housing development.
Mr. Jones, you mentioned that you serve 13 counties
Yes, sir.
throughout the South here.
Southern New Mexico.
Southern New Mexico. Can you mention some of them, just how far you've gone?
I go as far as, I just had a major event in Lawrenceburg, that is Hidalgo County.
Mhm.
And I went all the way up to, and I go all the way up to Presidio. No, is it not Presidio, but I'm thinking of Texas, Portales. And I do events up there, and unfortunately, I know we don't have a vet center there, but when I go up there, I try to bring a benefit counselor with me, and somebody can provide some type of counseling if they need it. So if a veteran is maybe feeling in crisis, I can get on the phone and call my director, and my director can talk to the veteran one-on-one through a tele system we have in the mobile unit and figure out what the veteran need is at that moment. And if we're not sure about what his needs is, I also can refer the veteran to the emergency room or call 911.
Or 899.
Yeah, yes.
And another piece on the eastern part is that we're very much involved in the Border Patrol Academy.
Yes.
And we've had some veterans reach out to us, and we will accommodate. We'll try to figure out either how to provide the service or make the connection so that they can seek the service that they're looking for. And Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia.
And another important thing is, if a veteran is not enrolled in the vet center where I work, he can also come and talk to me. I'm an outreach specialist. I will sit down with him. I'll go over resources with him to find out, connect him with people that can help him through his transition, either out of the military or while he's in the military. So they don't need to come in and see a counselor to talk to me, because I have a lot of resources that I can point the veteran in the right direction. So he don't really have to come in for therapy. I will suggest therapy, but it's still up to the veteran if he wants it.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason I asked that, I've read where and a lot of veterans, whether they're in crisis or dealing with some type of personal issue, are not currently enrolled.
Yes.
And in a VA program whatsoever. And that's probably half the battle, is just getting them enrolled, whether it's their location, where they're from, their situation, or just gave up because they tried it before, but now haven't tried it again due to all these new programs and entitlements that they're offering right now.
And one of the goals I have is to ensure with the new PAC Act, they extended the law. So a lot of veterans that wasn't able to enroll 10 years ago are able to enroll, and I encourage them to enroll into the healthcare because you never know when you may need healthcare. So I encourage them to get enrolled.
Yeah.
Let the VA works for them and don't work against the VA.
So
Yeah, or what they might have been denied on a claim before, they are much more eligible now.
Yes.
Well, let's get into some more questions we have here. So this probably pertain to all three of you. The first part of it is, what is the wait time for services? And then the second part of it was the wait time for services for someone in crisis. So I'll ask you first, Deborah.
Okay. The wait time for services, we can actually schedule somebody to come in either later that day or the next day. Our intent is to get you into services within 72 hours, and I'd like to see it happen like the next day. Because people are seeking services now, not later. If they're actually in crisis, we don't necessarily deal with crises, but if they want to come in, if they walk in, we'll deal with the crisis and figure out what the best plan is for
Okay.
moving forward in that crisis. But we see people, we'll get you scheduled and seeing within a day or two.
And I believe we have something with your hours of operation. Or do you have that, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
That shows your hours of operation location again. I know you guys mentioned that at the beginning.
I don't think I have hours.
Okay, there we go. That's for the vet center
That's the
and
best
the
in
crisis line.
the crisis line, and also the vet center have a combat crisis line. And they can call that number. And we also, if we after hours, if you call the vet center, it automatically goes to an automated system. And it will email us that you were trying to contact us the next day. And the next day we will reach out to you. So it's always, and like Ms. Deborah was saying, is you don't need an appointment to come and see me. If my admin days, I try to keep them at Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you come in and you want to talk about issues about benefits, or you want to talk about healthcare, or you want to talk about education, just let the people at the front doors know you come here to see Sam. If I'm available, I will sit down and talk to the veterans, and I will try to give them as much information I can.
Our actual office hours are 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. We will schedule appointments after hours or on Saturday mornings. So those are by appointment only.
But someone could come in, whether in crisis or not, they can walk through and be
Absolutely.
seen, as well as with you too, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes,
right?
usually, if you come in and walk in, we usually can see you within 5 to 10 minutes. We have enough staff there that we're able to help our veterans. If you do email, depending on the time of year, if it's registration time, it may take longer. It could take up to 72 hours, but that's usually rare. We usually answer all of your email within 24 hours. In terms of crisis, if there is, we don't necessarily handle crisis, but we've had crisis come into our office that it's immediate, and we'll try to get them the help that they need as soon as possible, whether that is whether they're a student and we just need to walk them over to the counseling center to make sure that they see a counselor right then and there, or to see if we can refer them to somebody in the community that they can see. We have a variety of different vendors, the VA, obviously nonprofits that can help, if they're students, or if they're not even students, we can help.
Okay, yeah. Again, like officers deal with veterans on a lot of these issues right here, and we refer to those programs. Yeah, sometimes they don't want to hear or be handed a phone number or a card or something. You know, I've already tried that. That doesn't work, or no one answers. And vet center is kind of a broad name. Me as an ex-military, you guys are service members as well, prior service members. You think of center or services or service center, everything's incorporated when you arrive there, whether it's educational benefits, and then you find out I can only get therapy or counseling done at this location. I have to go to another location. Maybe I'll drive all the way out to Fort Bliss, and I just drove all the way here from Deming. And you know how vets are. That's upsetting to a vet.
Mhm.
Knowing now how we were structured in the military, you go to one location and all those services are in that location. And I think that's a huge reason why a lot of them are not registered or were registered and no longer are registered for services. So having you guys here helps, not only they can identify a location, but know what they can get when they arrive at these different services.
When it comes to, particularly when it comes to educational benefits and the college life, we are a one-stop shop for us, in terms of if they need, questions answered about how to get admitted, housing on campus, their academics, even though we may not deal with it, we know where they can go. We want them to come to our office. There are times when we do not, obviously it's having to do with counseling, physical therapy, where we have to, I think we all agree, we work together because we can't do it all. We may know certain people that can help, but it is frustrating to a veteran when they come in and say, well, can you help me with my medical? We can definitely point you to the right direction. But as you know, the laws, the methods has been more complicated, and it's just impossible to have one office that can do it all. And so we specialize, but yes, you're correct. Many veterans are a little frustrated with that. But in terms of the educational part of it, we try to be that one-stop shop where they can go. An example of that, we have a lab in Corbett Center. It's open to all students, right? Well, we have a lab in our office, and people ask us all the time, well, why you have computers here, the lab, when you can use the computers in the lab? And I said, the reason why we do that is that when they come to our lab, again, we're saying we're one stop, they know they're sitting next to another veteran, and they can communicate, and they can talk about their classrooms. They can talk about where they're going to eat. They can talk about what professors to stay away from, or what they can talk. And guess what? A lot of them want to talk about when they were in the military, what they miss about being in the military. Camaraderie. I mean, and believe me, our office is a little bit more liberal when it comes to the language that's spoken in there compared to other offices at NMSU. But that's where they can go and say, hey, somebody knows my name and somebody has experienced the same experiences. And that way, that's what we try to offer, that one-stop shop and one-stop experience too.
And I try as an outreach specialist, I try to bridge that gap between the VA and the vet center. Because most veterans, when they come to my office, they're concerned about benefits and they're concerned about healthcare. So I try to bridge that gap where they can come in and I can assist them where they don't have to run around whole Las Cruces trying to find one information. So I try to limit their travel as much as possible, but they need to come in the office. They need to make sure that when they come in the office, I want to make sure they can trust me, that I'm gonna do my best to do my job to help them as much as possible. But they also got to realize there's other veterans in line too, and they got to be patient.
Yeah. We're getting several people asking this question here. Does Las Cruces have skilled bridge programs for active duty soldiers transitioning out? Or did we already touch that? Is it, and we kind of talked about that prior to start.
I think the thing is, I do go to active duty. I go to the National Guard, I go to Reserve, I go to active duty. And when they transition, I'm there trying to build that bridge, that gap, so I give them a packet with information about the VA. And they're gonna get it when they go to TAP briefing. So when I give them this packet, all the information they need to know about benefits, healthcare, vet center is in that packet. So I'm trying to bridge that gap so they can understand when they get out of uniform where they go to get help.
And just to clarify, because we use a lot of TAP is a program used to help active duty transition from military to civilian, and they have all these different types of class, whether it's in the financial, whether it's a job, whether it is education now, that they are teaching now, finally, they are now dedicating TAP time or transition training to education. And so that helps a bit But in terms of overall, I think each service or that offers services to vendors has their own kind of program. And we do obviously have our own program that when active duty come, that we have a way for them to transition in terms of educational benefits.
And the vets, and we do see active duty soldiers that deployed.
And I'm not real sure what they're referencing as far as the skilled program. Because one of the things, as far as the counseling piece, a lot of times they have not disclosed what had happened to them while they were in the military or the experiences that they had gone through. And if we can start documenting what their situation is or why they have anxiety, depression, PTSD, and we can start documenting that, then that information can actually be pushed forward over to the VA so that when they go see the psychologist or the psychiatrist, then they can actually disclose that they're seeing us at the vet center. And the VA really likes to have the psychologist and the psychiatrist do the diagnosis. And so we diagnose, but we can't diagnose. And so we're kind of in a catch-22, but our documentation has been accepted for people who are going after various claims. And that's a key piece because we may be the first ones that they actually disclose this to, or they say, you know what, they denied me back in whatever year, 10, 15, 50 years. But now we have it documented and they can take that documentation and we bridge that, if that's the reference of the skills bridging.
program.
Yeah.
Okay, and we got another question. How can one request presence at a community event? So, Mr. Jones, if someone wanted you to come out to their event?
Yeah, they just have my information up on the board.
So
If
you
they
don't just have your own schedule, you can
Yeah.
do ones that report.
If they want me to participate in an event, they have it. And they're gonna be veterans, they are active duty soldiers. All they have to do is give me a phone call or shoot me an email and I'll respond back. If I'm available, I will be at the event
Okay. Awesome.
with the mobile unit. Of course.
Do you do the same thing, Mr. Santos?
Yes, if they, an organization wants me to be, or my staff to be present to talk about educational benefits, we'd be more than happy. Just shoot me an email at the email mbp@nmsu.edu, and we can set up a time and date to see any veterans or military that may be in that location or in that event.
And like I mentioned, again, that this is something I wanted to just partner with you guys as well, not just for this Bridging the Badge episode, but in the future, like we go out in the public as a team too and offer our services at different events and be able to service veterans or the public in general if they had any questions or need to seek help for benefits. We can do that at some
And I
event.
encourage not just the veterans, but the family members to get involved. The family members have to realize they need to know as much as the veteran does because that's their loved one. If they need to speak on their behalf or what they need to search for, they need to come into our vet center and I provide them information as needed.
Or if you've had a veteran who has passed away and now they're trying to make funeral arrangements, we have definitely assisted in that arena. So don't hesitate to call if you have questions.
Okay, I think we're winding down. You guys got anything else? No. Okay, well, this concludes our episode of Bridging the Badge on veteran services, our 6th episode. Finally done. The next episode will be on, I believe, April 11th on civilian response to active shooter. So in closing, I wanted to feature one of the videos that our Honor Guard team did in response to veterans. It was closer to, or just after COVID, but we did a tribute to veterans for 9/11. It's a pretty cool video. Got a lot of good response, but I want to close with showing that video. But I do appreciate you guys coming. Thank you, Mr. Jones, Mr. Sanchez, and Deborah. Appreciate you guys being here.